What if the person who broke your heart was the only one who could heal it? When renowned art restorer Elena Martinez returns to her hometown after a decade of self-imposed exile, she never expected to find her first love. Chen, now a successful gallery owner, still living in the shadows of their unfinished story. But sometimes, the most beautiful masterpieces are the ones that require the most delicate restoration, including broken hearts that still beat as one. Elena's hands trembled as she parked her vintage Volvo outside the Riverside Gallery, 10 years of distance collapsing into this single moment. The October rain painted watercolor streaks across her windshield, blurring the warm light spilling from the gallery windows where silhouettes moved like ghosts from her past. She hadn't planned to come back to Cedar Falls. The call from the local historical society about restoring the town's century-old murals was supposed to be a simple job, 6 months, good pay, minimal emotional baggage, but life had a way of laughing at her carefully constructed plans. Through the rain-streaked glass, she saw her, Chen, now 32 instead of 22, her black hair shorter, more sophisticated, but those same expressive eyes that once held entire conversations in stolen glances across college lecture halls. Maya was gesturing animatedly to a small group of patrons, her passion for art evident in every movement, the same passion that had drawn Elena to her like a moth to flame all those years ago. The familiar ache settled in Elena's chest, the one she'd tried to bury under layers of success, accolades, and carefully curated loneliness. She'd restored priceless Renaissance frescoes, worked in the world's most prestigious museums, built a reputation that opened doors across 3 continents. Yet sitting here, watching Maya in her element, Elena felt like that uncertain 21-year-old who'd fallen in love for the first time and then run away when it became too real, too overwhelming. Her phone buzzed. A text from her assistant in New York. The Guggenheim wants an answer about the Florence position by Friday. They're getting impatient. Florence, another escape route, another chance to run from the life she'd never quite learned how to live. Elena closed her eyes, feeling the weight of a decade's worth of almosts and would-ifs pressing against her ribs. When she opened them, Maya was looking directly at her through the gallery window. Even across the distance, even through the rain and glass, the recognition was instant, electric. Maya's hand went to her throat in that familiar gesture. Elena remembered surprise mixed with something deeper, more complicated. For a heartbeat that felt like an eternity, they simply looked at each other. Then Maya moved toward the door, and Elena knew there was no running this time. Some stories demanded to be finished, no matter how much they might hurt in the telling. The rain continued to fall, washing the world clean for whatever came next. Maya's voice carried across the gallery's threshold like a prayer, and an accusation rolled into one. She stood in the doorway, backlit by the warm gallery lights, and Elena felt every defense she'd carefully constructed over the past decade crumble like old paint under a restorer's gentle hand. Maya. The words felt foreign on Elena's tongue, too simple for the weight they carried. They moved inside, away from the curious glances of evening patrons. The gallery was everything Elena had imagined. Maya would create eclectic, warm, showcasing local artists alongside established names. Photographs lined one wall, Maya receiving a business award. Maya at gallery openings, Maya laughing with friends Elena didn't recognize. A life fully lived, unapologetically. "I heard you were back in town," Maya said, her professional smile not quite reaching her eyes. "The mural project, right?" Mrs. Henderson was practically giddy about getting the famous Elena Martinez to restore our little historical treasures. Elena winced at the subtle emphasis on famous Maya. 10 years. Maya's voice was steady, controlled. 10 years without so much as a phone call, and now you're back because of paint on a wall. The words hit their mark. Elena had practiced this conversation 1,000 times in her head during the drive from New York, but none of her rehearsed explanations felt adequate now. How could she explain that leaving had been an act of self-preservation, that at 21, the intensity of what she'd felt for Maya had terrified her so completely that running had seemed like the only option? "I know how it looks," Elena began. Maya's composure cracked slightly. "Because it looks like you disappeared the night before graduation without a word. It looks like you blocked my number, returned my letters unopened, and spent a decade building a life that very carefully excluded any possibility of me being in it." A patron approached, and Maya smoothly shifted into professional mode, discussing a piece by a local landscape artist with the kind of genuine enthusiasm that had first drawn Elena to her, in their shared art history classes. Elena watched Maya work, noting the way she moved with more confidence now, how she commanded the space with natural authority. When the patron left, Maya turned back to Elena. I have to close up soon. Have dinner with me. The words tumbled out before Elena could stop them. Maya's laugh was sharp. Dinner? After 10 years, you want to have dinner. I want to explain. Some things don't need explaining, Elena. Some things just are what they are. Maya began turning off lights, her movements brisk, efficient. You made your choice. You built your life, I built mine. Elena watched Maya lock up the gallery, noting the absence of a wedding ring but also the presence of confidence, of someone who'd learned to be complete on their own terms. It should have made her feel better, but it only made the ache worse. I never stopped loving you, Elena whispered to the night air as Maya walked away. Maya paused, her key still in the lock. When she turned, her eyes were bright with unshed tears. That's the problem, isn't it? Maya said softly. Neither did I. The Riverside Community Center's main hall smelled of dust and decades of small-town gatherings. Elena stood before the mural she'd been hired to restore, a Depression-era work depicting the town's founding. Its colors faded and cracked like old skin. She'd been working alone for 3 days, avoiding the places where she might run into Maya, but the small town had other plans. Double quotes, Mrs. Henderson said you might need these. Maya's voice came from behind her, and Elena turned to find her holding a cardboard tray with 2 coffee cups and what looked like homemade scones. You don't have to. She's 83, and she asked me personally. Trust me, saying no wasn't an option. Maya set the tray on Elena's work table, careful to avoid the tubes of paint and delicate brushes. Besides, I wanted to see what Elena Martinez looks like when she works. Elena felt heat rise in her cheeks. It's not exactly glamorous. No, Maya agreed, settling onto a nearby folding chair. But it's you. They fell into an easy rhythm. Elena worked while Maya handled phone calls for the gallery, occasionally asking questions about the restoration process. It felt dangerously familiar, like their college study sessions when Maya would sketch while Elena wrote papers, their comfortable silence punctuated by soft conversation and shared glances. Why did you really come back? Maya asked, during a quiet moment. Elena paused, her brush hovering over a section of sky she was gradually bringing back to life. My dad had a heart attack 3 months ago. Maya's intake of breath was sharp. Elena, I'm so sorry. Is he? He's okay now. But sitting in that hospital waiting room, I realized I'd spent 10 years running from everything that mattered. My family, this place, .. Double quotes. Elena met Maya's eyes. You, so this is guilt? No. Elena set down her brush, turning to face Maya fully. This is me finally being brave enough to admit I made the biggest mistake of my life. Maya was quiet for a long moment, her fingers tracing patterns on the dusty table. Do you remember, senior year, that night we talked about after graduation? Elena nodded. They'd been lying in Maya's dorm room bed, tangled in sheets and dreams, planning a future that had seemed both infinite and terrifying. You were so scared, Maya continued, not of me, but of how much you felt. I could see it in your eyes, this panic, like love was something dangerous instead of something beautiful. I was 21, Elena said quietly. I'd never felt anything like that before. It was overwhelming. So you ran. So I ran. Elena's voice was barely a whisper. Maya stood, moving closer to examine the mural. You're bringing it back to life, she observed. Layer by layer, color by color. It must require incredible patience. And faith, Elena added. Faith that underneath all the damage, the original beauty is still there. Their eyes met, and Elena felt the weight of the metaphor hanging between them. Maya reached out, her fingers barely brushing Elena's paint-stained hand. Some things can't be restored, Elena. Some things, once broken, stay broken. And some things, Elena whispered, turning her hand to catch Maya's fingers, are stronger in the broken places. Maya didn't pull away, and for a moment, Elena let herself believe in second chances. The autumn festival filled Cedar Falls' main street with the scent of cinnamon apples and the pepper sound of families enjoying the crisp October evening. Elena watched from her hotel window as couples strolled between craft booths. Children chased each other through piles of leaves, and Maya stood alone outside her gallery, looking up at Elena's window. The knock on her hotel door came 20 minutes later. We need to talk, Maya said when Elena opened it. Really, talk. Elena stepped aside, letting Maya into the small room that had become her temporary home. Maya looked around, taking in the neat arrangement of art supplies, the laptop open to restoration research, the single photo on the nightstand, the two of them at college graduation, arms around each other, faces bright with possibility. You kept it, Maya said softly. I kept everything. Elena's voice was raw with honesty. Every photo, every letter you wrote that I was too scared to open. The program from your first gallery showing that my mom sent me ... double quotes. Maya picked up the photograph, her thumb tracing their younger faces. I have a box too, in my closet. Letters I wrote but never sent, ticket stubs from movies you would have loved, newspaper clippings about your work. She looked up. 10 years of loving a ghost. Maya ... let me finish. Maya's voice was steady but firm. You want to know why I never married? Why every relationship I've had has ended the same way? Because I've been comparing everyone to a memory, to a 21-year-old girl who was too scared to love me back. Elena felt tears threatening. I did love you back. I loved you so much, it terrified me. Then why? The question came out like a sob. Why leave without a word? Why make me think I was crazy for believing what we had was real? Elena sank onto the bed, her hands shaking. Because my parents' marriage was a disaster. Because every relationship I'd seen had ended in screaming and resentment, and people who once loved each other becoming strangers. Because what I felt for you was so intense, so all-consuming, that I was sure it would burn out and leave us hating each other. So you decided to hate me preemptively. I decided to love you from a distance where I couldn't hurt you. Elena's voice broke. I thought if I left, you'd move on, find someone better, someone who wasn't terrified of their own heart. Maya was crying now, angry tears that she wiped away impatiently. That wasn't your choice to make, Elena. You don't get to decide what's best for me. You don't get to love me for my own good, from 3,000 miles away. I know. Elena's whisper was barely audible. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. They sat in silence. 10 years of hurt and longing filling the space between them. Outside, the festival continued, the sound of laughter and music drifting through the window like a reminder that life went on, even when hearts were breaking. I'm leaving again, Elena said finally. The Guggenheim offered me a position in Florence. I have until Friday to decide. Maya's head snapped up. Of course you are, but I don't want to. The words came out in a rush. I want to stay. I want to restore more than just murals. I want to restore us, if you'll let me. If it's not too late. Maya stood, pacing to the window, her back to Elena. What if it happens again? What if you get scared and run? Then you'll know where to find me, Elena said simply. Because I'm tired of running, Maya. I'm tired of living half a life because I'm too scared to live a whole one. Maya turned, her face streaked with tears but her eyes clear. I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't know if I deserve your trust, Elena replied, but I'd like the chance to earn it back. For a long moment, Maya just looked at her. Then, slowly, she moved back to the bed, sitting close enough that Elena could smell her familiar perfume, could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. One chance, Maya whispered. One real chance. No running, no protecting me from your feelings, no deciding what's best for me without asking. Elena nodded, not trusting her voice. And Elena, Maya's hand found hers, their fingers intertwining like they had 1,000 times before. Don't you ever leave me wondering again. 6 months later, Elena put the finishing touches on the community center mural. Its colors now vibrant and alive, telling the story of a town's resilience and renewal. Maya stood behind her, arms wrapped around Elena's waist, both of them admiring the work. It's beautiful, Maya murmured against Elena's ear. It should be, Elena replied, leaning back into Maya's embrace. I had a lot of practice with restoration. They'd taken it slow coffee dates that turned into long walks, gallery openings where Elena proudly introduced herself as Maya's girlfriend, quiet evenings in Maya's apartment above the gallery where they rebuilt trust one conversation at a time. It wasn't a fairy tale. There were difficult conversations, moments of doubt, the hard work of learning to love without fear. But it was real, and it was theirs. Elena turned the Florence offer down and opened her own restoration studio in Cedar Falls. Maya expanded the gallery to include classes and workshops. Together, they created something new while honoring what had come before, the art of second chances made manifest. What's your greatest second chance love story? Share in the comments below and let's celebrate the courage it takes to love again. Don't forget to follow 4 more stories that prove love really can conquer fear when we're brave enough to let it.